Greenfield Society.
All right.
Ed
Marcus from the Real Dirty Mets blog.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Here with Howie Rose. I'm personally a big fan of how you would drag the word black out to a 3-syllable word. How happy are you about the new uniforms?
Well, I'm certainly not taking any credit or proprietary interest in it, but as a staunch card-carrying traditionalist, I'm obviously thrilled to see the look that defines the Mets return.
Isn't it? It's great. You know,
All right.
I'm 53. I've been rooting for this team since I'm 6
Okay.
years old, kind of like you. And
Right.
to see them stand up, the players standing up there with the traditional Met uniform, it's something I'm so happy to see, and it seems like this 50th anniversary is going to be a great celebration.
I'm sure it will be. And, you know, the thing about uniforms is that they're a link. You know, they trigger your mind to the days when you first fell in love with the game and the team, and when there's that continuum of a uniform that was worn 50 years ago into today and the future, it allows you to sort of bridge those generations with your family, your friends, whatever your emotions are relative to the early days, and that counts for a lot. You look at teams around baseball that have changed uniforms over the last 10 or 12 years, especially the older teams. They've all done this. You know, they've all gone back to their old look, and they'll have alternates, but, you know, the Giants and just last year, the Twins look. The Twins with their original uniforms were beautiful, and so many other teams have done that. The Braves really started it back in the late 80s when they went back to the Tomahawk design, and there are a lot of teams who have done the same thing. In fact, the Orioles are going back to that cartoon bird this year.
You know, even now with the new uniforms, and it seems that there's very positive, very upbeat here today. What are you looking for in 2012 with this team? We have, you know, we're waiting for see what happens with Jose Reyes and what player moves are going to be made. You know, there's one thing with 50 years of the Mets, you never know what's going to happen with them. I mean, it's always something.
That's part of the fun, isn't it?
And that's the best part of being a Met fan.
Absolutely.
Just when you think it's the darkest, the dawn comes, and you know.
Well, people, you know, I've been saying this to people ever since the season ended. People who I've run into say, "Well, how'd you make it through the season?" Well, shoot, I mean, for 3 months they were 12 games over 500, and very much a presence in the race. However realistic anybody thought that was, and you know, then they made the moves they really had to make in terms of Beltran and K-Rod, and the biggest sort of backdrop to the season was so many guys got hurt. And Dave's right, you know, if you bring everybody back healthy, God willing, somebody owes us a break somewhere when it comes to that, then hopefully things will start to fall into place. The pitching's a work in progress. Obviously, at the minor league level, they've got some legitimate prospects now, but they can't rush them. You know, you just can't rush pitching. So I do believe that the future's bright, and it's part of a process. And you just can't appreciate the good times unless you deal with the lean ones. You know?
Well, I like what David Howard said about the dormant Met fan.
Well,
they're out there.
Of course they
They're
are.
not. I mean, we're the diehards. We're always here.
Right.
But there's that dormant group out there that's just sitting back waiting and waiting.
Well, I've had this number in my head for over 30 years. 1979, you guys remember.
Yes.
To me, that'll always be the darkest.
Traverse.
That's right. 788,905 paid to see Major League Baseball, National League Baseball in New York. And you say to yourself, 10 years before they won the World Championship and they were beloved nationwide and they couldn't even draw 800,000 in New York. Well, there were reasons for that. And when they turned it around, you saw how quickly they came back. All of a sudden, they're setting New York City attendance records. So that's going to happen again. It's just a matter of
They're out there.
when.
They're just,
Of course they are. Of course they are.
I guess my question for you.
First 10-game winning streak, they'll all be back. Just like, you know, I'm sure everybody's been a Yankee fan their whole lives, but a lot of them were born in 1996, I guess.
yeah.
You know?
Well, they're all Jay-Z fans. They were the Yankees.
Right. Well,
I guess my question for you, is there any player from yesteryear that you would like to see come back that you have not seen back?
that I would like to personally see who
Yes.
I haven't met, you mean?
Yeah, whether it's a Choo-Choo Coleman or Ron Gasper.
Well, I
mean,
think Choo-Choo's there. He's gone, I think. Well, I've seen the 69 guys so often and gotten to know so many of them personally. I'd have to go way back to the beginning. I know Ron Hunt. He's always a piece of work. Al Jackson's one of the sweetest men you'll ever meet. In terms of guys from their past, I think just being in the business I'm in, I've had the chance at some point to meet them. So I don't know that there's anybody that I haven't seen or met that would pop up and I'd go, wow. I always get a kick out of being around Jerry Kuzma. One of my agents, great.
I had the opportunity to interview him on my podcast. He was great.
Oh, he's just
he was
great.
great.
He's the best.
For me, it would be somebody like a Pat Zachary, somebody that was really
Okay.
fun.
Okay. Well, even from those days, right? Doug Flynn's always great to see Doug, who was at the ballpark last year.
Nobody's
nice.
better than Eddie Crank. He's my favorite. It's my guy.
Hey, Rusty Stubb.
Yep. Well, but there you go. It's just a whole generational thing where you look at teams almost in 10-year increments as a generation, and there's more than one person from every one of those generations we got to charge out of seeing. So I just can't wait to see those uniforms on the field.
Yeah, I know.